Welcome back. Well, the markets are indicating, the GIFT Nifty is indicating that we pulled back 150 points, and that's courtesy some of those IT names. So let's start analyzing them itself, and let's get in a view. We have Nischal Maheshwari, the CEO, Institutional Equities and Advisory at Centrum Broking, who joins us. Hi, Nischal. Good morning. Well, IT stocks could open up a little bit under some pressure. The only, solace is the last couple of days they have as it has been weak, and maybe that's normally a place that you look to hide. Would you be a buyer on this dip?
Morning, Nigel. Yes, I think so. Basically, given that the price is already off, I think these kind of results, whether it was TCS or Infosys yesterday, I think the only disappointment which I see is basically the guidance which both Infosys and HCL Tech has cut. So that is the only disappointment I see, basically. Otherwise, I think these results were more or less as expected.
All right, so that's your view on the IT pack. Nischal, good morning. Just wanted to know your thoughts on the banking space. I mean, you've been positive on the PSU side of things a lot more than the private side. But now with the PSU stocks, PSU banks having outperformed a lot and some momentum being built in private sector banks, do you think you would make that shift now? If yes, then where would you go?
So I have been positive on the large cap PSU banks, not all of them, because we don't cover all of them basically. But yes, having said that, I think we would continue to hold on to the PSU banks for the moment. I think at least for the coming next 1 or 2 quarters, they will continue to outperform the large cap private sector banks. So for the moment, I think it's PSU, large cap, PNB, SBI. These are the ones basically which we cover and we like them at the moment.
Nischal, which sector or group of stocks could be the dark horse in this earnings season, according to you?
So I have to really think about that. Actually, what could be? But as of now, nothing comes to my mind. It will be the dark horse. I think more or less the earnings are pretty much expected, basically, and I think most sectors would be able to deliver that.
What about consumer discretionary? Of late, we're getting a lot of voices saying the consumer discretionary looks poised for some strength given the upcoming festive season. Would you concur with that? And in consumer discretionary, what would you bet on? Would it be the four-wheelers or would it be the apparel textile companies, the hotel companies? Your thoughts on consumer discretionary and what your ground-up checks seem to be suggesting?
So our ground-up check is basically that the retail continues to remain weak, whether it's in the apparel company or is the footwear companies. Basically, mostly the retail has been pretty weak in the second quarter. As far as hotels and all, I think there the ARRs are quite good basically, and it continues to be strong on the back of current World Cup which is going on. As well as the tourism demand. The other consumer discretionary, autos continue to remain pretty good, and we continue to believe basically that in the coming quarter also auto will be still strong. So I do not see very strong revival as far as retail is concerned. Apparel, apparel and all, I think it will be a slow recovery because we are not seeing any signs as yet of a recovery basically on the retail side. So it's going to be a slow grind.
Okay, all right. Nischal, since you're talking about autos, some of those stocks have done very well. Even like look at something like a TVS Motors. Stock last couple of days, I think 2 or 3 brokerages that have gone ahead and upgraded the stock. What do you like from there, from the auto pack?
So given that most of these stocks have done really well, basically, I think this time we would actually want to bet on the two-wheeler space. This is on the back saying that this is going to be a good festive season. we believe basically that there is going to be a revival on the rural side. And that's why we are saying basically Hero Motors could be the dark horse here. So that's what we are looking for basically, two-wheeler space within that Hero Motors.
All right, two-wheeler space, and within that Hero Motors, that could be the dark horse. If I was asking for a dark horse, perhaps this could be the one. Nischal, you've liked manufacturing in the past. What from there do you like right now, and how would you play that theme?
So I think one theme which has recently emerged is, though it is a bit stretched, but I think the recent government announcement on the mining side, I think this could be a big potential play as we go ahead. There are a few companies in that space because I think all the other themes have been played out well, whether it was power, whether it is defense. These are all capex oriented. So I think this mining thing can really work well. So besides the mining companies, I think there are two other companies within that space which should do well. Though it's not going to be immediate, it's going to be in a long-term way. But one of them is solar industries, basically because all mining uses explosives. So solar is going to be one of the beneficiaries. Rather, the whole explosive sector is going to be a beneficiary. And the second one is AIA Engineering. They produce consumables which go in the mining equipment. So I think these two companies is what we are now looking at, saying that they could be the bigger beneficiary of the government recent policy on mining.
Okay, Nischal, from the core mining names, I mean, these obviously they're indirect plays, but from the core mining companies, which ones do you like? Yesterday I was a little bit worried about stocks like MMTC moving up. I hope they have a big revamp in their plans going ahead, but the float is very limited. They haven't made profits in a long while from now. And, the stock was up 20% actually. The core mining names though, you had NMDC that was up, you had GMDC that was higher.
So I think, though we don't cover any of them except for Coal India, I'm not sure actually Coal India will go into any of the other spaces, but I think NMDC is a company basically which I would actually still want to explore. But I think a lot of the private companies might come in basically which have mining and exploration. So I think we have to look for which are the new companies which get the licenses.
Well, Nischal Maheshwari is still with us. Nischal, what do you think about this note? SBI, if you wanted to play PSU banks, then this was supposedly the safest option. If it dips, will you buy?
Yeah, definitely. I think we still have a couple of quarters basically where the earnings are going to be pretty strong. So any dips in SBI, I would be a buyer.
All right, would be a buyer on dips in SBI. I just wanted your thoughts on Interglobe Aviation as well. I mean, we did get the data overnight from DGCA saying that their leadership is intact, in fact, only growing from here on. Now, with the additional fuel surcharge coming in, some weakness in players like Akasa, etc., stable crude prices and rising, number of people who are traveling, would you continue to back this theme? And if yes, then what are your thoughts on Interglobe?
So as a theme, I think tourism has done pretty well basically, and this current quarter is going to be the busy season, both from point of tourism as well as business. So definitely, I think airlines as a theme is going to do well. Obviously, they being the market leader, continuously consolidating their market share and increasing it, I think they are the best placed basically. Yes, in distant time, I think possibly Tatas are going to give them a run for money, but I think at the moment they are ruling the roost. So definitely one should be holding on to this stock at these prices.
What about particularly Bank of Baroda, getting back to that PSU banking theme? There was that negative news about how RBI has disallowed them from onboarding new customers on their mobile banking app. We know in the case of HDFC, when that credit card ban took place, they were disallowed for nearly 12 months. What kind of an impact are you penciling in for Bank of Baroda?
Not sure actually what kind of impact can happen, basically, because Bank of Baroda is not very that way. I'm saying RBI has only told them to not onboard not onboard clients through the app, but I think directly they can still do it. In case of HDFC, it was basically asking him not to issue any more credit cards. So I think that could have directly impacted the business. In case of Bank of Baroda, you can still do it by getting the customer into the branches and all. So don't see much impact happening, but they definitely need to spend more on IT. I think that is sort of a rap on the knuckles basically by RBI to Bank of Baroda. And I think the management is quite cognizant of that and is continuously spending on the IT upgrade.